Shabbat Shalom. In this week's Parsha, P'arshat Hukat, we have the story of Moshe Rabbeinu hitting the rock to bring out water for the Jewish people. An incident which, as the Torah describes, and as we all have learned, Moshe Rabbeinu did something wrong, even perhaps sinned, and this mistake on his part, if it was a mistake, is directly connected to the fact that he was not allowed to bring the Jewish people into Eretz Yisrael. The commentators, the Meforshim, have racked their brains for centuries trying to figure out exactly what Moshe Rabbeinu did wrong. I heard that the Or HaChaim lists 10 sins that people have ascribed to Moshe, and he rejects all of these explanations and comes up with one of his own. And another rabbi said that he doesn't want to touch this Pasha at all, because everyone who tries to understand the story comes up with a different sin to pin on Moshe Rabbeinu. And in the end, after having begun our inquiry with the feeling that Moshe Rabbeinu really did not or could not have done any sin, any major sin, we end up with a very long list of things that people have found that he did wrong in this particular story. So today, I would like to share with you the approach or the explanation given to this incident by another Parshan, another Mefarish who is hardly known at all. And in fact, we know next to nothing about him, not even really where he lived or exactly when he lived. His name is מאיר, Kלוו, and his commentary, his Perush, is called Mincha Chadasha, and it survives in one manuscript only, now housed at the Bodleian Library in Oxford. And on your screen now you see a picture or an image of one of the pages, the first page actually. And it was printed twice, once at the end of the at the beginning of the 20th century rather, by Wolf Heidenheim, a scholar from Germany who put his own who had put out his own book called Sefer Torah Moshe, a Chumash with a German translation, the German written out in Hebrew letters, and to which he also transcribed this Perush Mincha Chadasha of Meir Kלוו, because he rightly felt that it was an interesting Perush that was not available to the general public. It was redone maybe around 10 years ago or so in a private printing in Brooklyn, New York, by someone in honor of the bar mitzvah of his son, a book that's impossible to get hold of as far as I know. And the reason I was drawn to Meir Kלוו is that he is one of the few Meforshim to make a lot of use of the Ralbag. The Ralbag, the great astronomer, mathematician, philosopher, Talmudist, and Mefarish Mikra, who lived in the Provence, worked mainly at the beginning of the 14th century, and was really one of the great minds of his period and of all time, but has made some impact, but not, I think, the way it should be. Anyway, Meir Kלוו is one of the few people to make a lot of use of Ralbag's Perush on the Torah, and there's some overlap between his Perush and that of the Ralbag in the story of Moshe Rabbeinu hitting the rock, but it seems to be very much his own take on the story. Basically, Meir Kלוو's point is that Moshe Rabbeinu did not sin. And after giving his Perush, which I will briefly summarize, he says quite clearly, and I'll read the statement. He says, ועל הכל שלא יכולתי לתפק לומר שטעה אדון הנביאים אפילו בדבר קטון. The reason, he says, I made all this effort to explain the story the way I did was that I simply could not bring myself to say that Moshe Rabbeinu, Adon HaNevi'im, the master of all prophets, would have made a mistake, even a small mistake. So what is his take on the story? His take on the story is that the sin or the mistake was on the part of the Jewish people, Bnei Yisrael. Now, of course, it wasn't a sin. There's nothing wrong with them asking for water. As the Rambam says in his own explanation of the story, you can't blame someone who's in a desert, which the Torah described as being extremely harsh and almost inhabitable desert, Nachash Saraf Akrav, place full of scorpions and snakes and simon in mayim, thirst, unquenchable thirst, you can't blame them for asking for a drink of water, but you can blame them for not asking in the proper fashion. And Meir Kavo's point is exactly that. Had Bnei Yisrael come to Moshe Rabbeinu and said, we believe that Hashem can provide for us, and we know that your prayers on something like this would certainly be answered. Can you please pray to God that we have some water? There would have been no problem. The problem was that they asked for it in a very rude, improper, disrespectful manner. And here's how we read the story. Now, the key phrase explaining the sin in the Torah is Yan ilo ha'amantim bi lakdisheni. Ha'amantim is in what they call in Hebrew the hif'il form. It's the transitive form, meaning to cause someone else to believe. But Meir Kavo says even the hif'il form can sometimes be the simple form, even of a stative verb, I believe. As it is in modern Hebrew, actually, when you say ani ma'amin, doesn't mean I caused someone else to believe. It means I believe. And he says this is also true of biblical Hebrew. And he gives, for example, the pasuk, the verse from Megillat Esther, where Mordechai says to Esther, Kim hacharesh tacharishi b'eit azot, if you keep silent, if you don't talk in this particular time of trouble. And hacharesh tacharishi is also the Hebrew, is the ifo form, yet everyone understands it to mean to keep silent, not to make someone else be silent. And lakdisheni, what is the Kiddush Hashem? The Kiddush Hashem, again, would have been if Bnei Yisrael, if the Jewish people had asked properly, had said, we believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can give us water, and we're simply asking you to please pray for water because we're thirsty, that would have been Kiddush Hashem. But they didn't. So the verse, Yan ilamantem bi lakdisheni, is actually addressed not to Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron, as most people understand it. Ha'amantim, you, plural, did not believe, but it's addressed to Bnei Yisrael. They did not believe. Moshe paid the price, exactly as it says in Tehillim Kuf Vav, chapter 106 in Psalms, where it says, Vayiktifu al mei meriva, vayera laMoshe ba'avuram. Vayera laMoshe ba'avuram. Moshe was harmed because of their angry response to the situation. He goes on also to say, and this is something that the Ralbag also says, that maybe explains it somewhat differently, that had Moshe Rabbeinu been allowed to take Bnei Yisrael into Eretz Yisrael, and he would have been the person to take possession of the promised land, the heritage of the Jewish people, he would have been the person instead of Yoshua, then the conquest would have been complete. All of the Canaanim would have been removed, and but Yoshua did not or could not do this, and in fact, Yoshua, it's clear to him, and I get to others as well. I think it's in Yoshua as well, that there actually was a reason not to complete the conquest, because when these Canaanim, the people who had taken hold of the land before the Jewish people reclaimed their rightful possession, would cause problems and afflict the Jews would do tshuva. So this is a reason they actually served the purpose here by causing trouble, which spurred Bnei Yisrael to do tshuva. Now, there's a lot behind the story here, a lot of political implications for our own day, which of course I wouldn't dare to get into, but I would like to leave us with the hope that the problems, Eit Zerahila Yaakov, problems, the troubles that we see today will spur us all the Jewish people, all of humanity, to do tshuva, l'achzor l'Hashem, b'levav shalem, Shabbat shalom, and thank you for watching, and if you like it, then hit the like button.